Okay, so it's been a week since our last vlog, so we're just gonna get right back into it. This is Greg the Babysitter. This was a... No, that clearly is not the case. It's been... We actually looked it up. I think it's been close to a year since we did the last one.
It's been 5 years. It's a confession. It's been
5 years since my last Steven Universe.
7 months since my last confession.
It's, we just been busy, and, you know, we started all these other vlog, like, shows in the past before, and we couldn't finish them because we just get... We don't think these shows are going to go that long, and they just keep going, and it's like, that's great, they're good shows,
now,
but it's like, damn it.
my question is, why aren't you in the chair that's behind you?
Oh, okay, Rob's obsessed. You know, we're gonna hold on.
No, because he was...
because you're obsessed with this.
Because Doug brings this chair out, and he's like, I'm like, are you really gonna use this chair? He's like, yeah, I bought it for a reason. I'm gonna do this. And he sits...
I was not that excited.
He was totally this excited.
So this is a really nice
he sits in this chair.
As you can see, it's like nice curve, and so it's great for my back and stuff like that.
He sets the camera, he sits in the chair.
This is what it would be like.
So and then all of a sudden he's like, oh no, I can't do this.
I'm not doing it like this. That's stupid. Yeah, that's why I'm not doing it that way.
Oh, it's so cute.
That's clearly.
And what do you want for Christmas, little boy?
Yeah, that's the only reason. I shouldn't have sat in that goddamn chair. Okay, so what we're doing, as you can probably tell from the title of it, is that because we just don't have time to watch an episode at a time and, you know, give our opinion on them now, especially because we are so far behind, and there's just... Lives are busy, man. We just got busy lives with work and everything. We're just gonna kind of do like, we're gonna try and do what they call the Steven bombs, where they drop like a big chunk of episodes at a time and sort of go over those. I'll try to look up like which ones they dropped at what times. Still don't know how long it'll be in between. We're gonna try our best. This did go a lot faster when we just watched them in a row, and we're just gonna go through each individual episode really fast. I just lost the list. No! Okay. I can get back.
This wouldn't have happened if you were in the better chair.
No, this wouldn't have happened if you didn't have me go in the goddamn chair. Okay, was in the 90s.
It's so amazing. Like, he like, sat down, and, like, there wasn't even, like... He didn't even think about it.
And I cried. I went down, I put my hand over my eyes, I said, oh my god, I'm ugly!
No, it's just the way,
Rob went, free yourself, little boy. I went, no, it's just too degrading! And that's what happened.
No, it was actually more embarrassing.
Yeah, exactly. Okay.
No, he just sat down, he didn't even, like, think about it for a second. It was just immediate sit down, just... Yeah, this isn't gonna work. So
if it was like a little shorter like here, if it was a little shorter like here, so that'd be okay. But I'm like down here, okay? That ain't gonna work. So okay, let's get to the goddamn vlogs. Okay, so we're pretty much finishing out the rest of this season.
Everything else will be chair related.
Following will all be what's the name of those things? The Christopher Walken?
Oh, the Centaur sketch?
Yeah, the following will all be Centaur related.
All further questions will be Centaur related.
Okay, so we're gonna finish out season 3 is what we're gonna do here. And the last one we were on is Alone at Sea, and so we'll talk real fast about these. Greg the Babysitter. This is the one where he goes to look after...
Worst babysitter ever.
Yeah, neither of them are especially good. He babysits sour cream with rose quartz. And it's
I like how he's got, like, the baby has the voice of Stephen Wright.
Yeah. It's cute. It's, you know, it's just him trying to figure out how to grow up.
Stand-up show.
He's kind of a baby, too. He's even, like, in a carriage in the carousel at the end. He realizes he has to grow up. The one thing I really liked about it that I thought stood out is every time they talk about Rose, it's kind of like a Jesus setup. Like, she's perfect.
Dear God, I Rose the amazing, Rose the all-powerful, Rose,
I like, but once in a while, the more they do it, the more it kind of shows a little bit more of, like, her actual personality.
Yeah, and it turns out she's a psycho bitch who just totally lets a baby walk on a Ferris wheel.
but I like how she...
That was the best line, too. She's like, I told you to watch her. I did. Or I told you to watch him. I did watch him. I watched him walk away and go off the Ferris wheel. It's going to be an experience or a formative experience.
Yeah, it's going to be fun. And I like when it kind of shows the flaws and the naivete and stuff like that. I like when she does seem a little bit more human. So, and I felt like that the most in this episode. Like, building her up is fine, but I like when she seems a little bit more human, especially when she's drawn a little bit more quirky and expressive. So I dug that. Anything you got on it?
No, honestly, it was a fluff episode.
Yeah, pretty much.
This is the usual standard aliens talking about babies, they're different than you, and woo.
And I understand them. No, you don't. What?
Honestly, it's one of those where like I saw Third Rock from the Sun, and I'm like, yeah, I've seen this bit before. Like,
yeah,
you know.
Gem hunt. This is one where Connie goes with Pearl and Steven on a big hunt. And they come across some of these monsters, and they come across Jasper. Oh no! And she's collecting these gems. I thought it was one of those. I mean, it's fine. It was a little dull. I thought. Honestly, I'm trying to even remember.
I just liked it for the pearl points. I need to incorporate more.
No. That's not that one. That's the next one.
Oh, that's correct. Okay.
Yeah, this is one where they're in winter and they're hunting the monsters. This is one where they have the walkie-talkies and she keeps talking. That was kind of like the only really funny part.
I liked it just because I thought it was fun to see them go on a mission. And
I like the snow. I like I don't see snow often.
I'm a Pearl girl. So I generally like episodes with Pearl, but...
She wasn't in a lot of it. Yeah, anyway.
No, because she disappears and then it's just them, and yeah, you know what? Fuck this episode.
I mean, it's fine. It just didn't do that much for me. Okay, Crack the Whip. This is the one where...
Was this the one that had the pearl points in it?
No, that's the one right after.
God damn it! Where are the pearl points?
Good Jesus. No, this is the one where...
I need to learn discipline!
Amethyst comes across Jasper, and so does Steven and Connie, and she gets knocked out.
Is this the one where they fuse?
Yeah, they fuse, and they take on Jasper.
By the way, I just want to say, Connie plus Steven, Coven. Just saying.
Sure. I forget, did that fusion have a name? Was it like Stefani or something like that? I want to say it was something like that.
Stani! I like Coven better.
It shows how long we've been away from it. I like that one. I thought the action was pretty cool. I like... Anytime there's a fusion, I think it's cool. I just love that idea.
Particularly, we'll get to that later. Though.
Yeah, we'll definitely get to that. Yeah, yeah, and you definitely see a little bit of this hostility building in her a little bit. This is sort of starting a long kind of arc with her, which is good. But this is mainly just starting that off.
Is this the one? Did Amethyst get her butt kicked?
Yeah,
that started. I don't know. Is that? I'm going through this right now with The Flash, which I'm watching on season 3 on Netflix, and like Cisco's becoming a bit of a bitch, and like I'm not a huge fan when they do that in series. It's like, no, I'm all bitter and upset, and my normal happy characters is going to be a D-bag.
It's fine if it's like an episode, maybe, especially for a kid's show, because kids have a lot of pride.
This is bothering me less than
but it's like
Flash,
it did seem like it was drawn out.
I just feel because there's something that always feels kind of like, when it's done not quite right, it always just feels arbitrary. I'm like, oh, that's not their normal personality, so they're just acting like a D-bag now, and it just doesn't feel natural or right.
I felt like, okay, if you combine...
I feel like Amethyst is a little better, but it's still just a plot point. I'm not a... Yeah, there's those plot points you hate. This is one of those I hate, where it's like,
I'm not a big fan of
the character you're a fan of. Now you're gonna hate me for a few episodes. I'm like, why?
If they combine like this episode with the one where they go to, the kindergarten where Jasper came from, and that would have been okay.
Yeah, and there's...
Because that's not a bad lesson, but when you draw it out,
it's not as long. Like, The Flash are hour-long episodes, so that's really getting on my nerves. But it's not as long, so it's okay here, but it's just not my favorite thing. Like,
yeah, but
I'm not saying the episode sucks because of that,
episode's fine. But then that brings us to Steven versus Amethyst, which is the one with pearl points.
Yes!
And the pearl pouch!
I want to earn pearl points, and I want prizes from the pearl pouch.
And I feel like... I kind of feel like that was the best part, because, again, the rest of it is, you already know what they're going to learn at the end. You already know what the lesson's going to be. I think even kids kind of figure it out. And so when they're having that great big long fight, it's kind of like, yeah, okay.
Is that the one where you suck at losing?
Yeah, I mean, the setup was kind of funny. They want to see who is worse, and so it's a competition to see who sucks more. So it's a little funny, but it's like... Hey, like, you could skip this
just a
episode,
fight.
Honestly.
There was some decent slapstick. That was about it.
And then we got a 22-minute episode called Bismarck.
Damn!
Okay,
That was a tease, by the way, because I thought, oh, are they all going to be 22 minutes now? Because I would have loved that.
Yeah, they had like little commercial breaks with like Bismuth in it and stuff. I was just like, so is this like a new crystal gem? How's this work?
That's one of the episodes I remember most because it's 22 minutes. And I'm sorry, I just retain information better in a 22-minute format versus the 11-minute format.
Like, okay, now here's my question. Because I'm watching it, and you already know something's up with this guy. This is the one where Bismuth, it was one of the original crystal gems. She was trapped in the mane of the lion, and they find her, and then you discover why. She was making these weapons that are becoming a little, in their world, too savage, and, you know, one actually destroys gems and stones and stuff, and Steven has to put her back. You know, doesn't destroy her, but puts her back, and finds out that's what Rose did. And
hey, Steven, I got this great weapon. Let's commit murder.
You know,
I was just like, ooh, this got dark.
It was very intense and well done.
I like the term shatter. I'm like, ooh,
yeah,
that just sounds brutal.
And the way they show it with sort of the rock mannequin, whatever you want to call them,
shattering.
Yeah, and just the way it goes through and comes out, it's like, it looks like, man, this is fierce. This is like a fierce
It's rough, too, because
weapon.
I'm not entirely against Bismuth's, like, you know, her argument. I'm like, well, I mean...
Well, and we get to that.
That would work.
We get to that
and then
later, too.
Yeah, and that blew my mind, because I thought this was the last we were going to hear that, and I'm like... Oh, there was payoff for this a number of episodes later. Well done.
And yeah, no, there is a part of me. I mean, again, they didn't go into it in Man of Steel, but there is a part of me that likes those times where it's like, you gotta make that choice. Yeah, well, I'm never gonna kill. I'm never gonna... You know, it's not always wise to say never, because you could be put in a situation where you do have to do something
my problem with Man
you
of
swore
Steel,
you would never do.
Talk about the neck break.
Yeah. And they never talk about it.
Yeah, my
they
problem,
don't even set it up.
My problem with that is not that he would do that. I've never had an issue. My problem is just like, he's probably inadvertently killed like 10,000 people already in that giant fight, and all of a sudden he's like, but this one family of idiots, I won't let you do it. I'm like, really? Like this out of everything? Like, it's the way it was executed was stupid. But
in my opinion,
it's an interesting idea if they did it right.
It's not at all that I don't admire people that, you know, are pacifists and stuff like that and say, you know, no, I will not. I will sooner die before I kill somebody.
So you should watch Try Guy.
No, I mean, it's like, highest respect, don't get me wrong. It's one of those things where it's like, I just don't know if that's my... I always want it as a last resort, but it's like...
It's an interesting episode because
it's
like,
always
oh shit,
the case.
I have to examine the gray zone now. Like, because, yeah, my instant reaction was, oh, sweet, yeah, just shatter them all. The end. I'm like, well, but... Isn't that, like, kind of monstrous? And I'm just sitting there like, isn't that kind of monstrous? Shut up, Steven. But then another part of me's like, yeah, I guess the kid has a point. Fucking Pollyanna.
No, and he's not wrong either.
No.
You know, it's one of those things, it's a tough zone, and you think they're just gonna draw the line in the sand, that's it. Make it a little tricky, but pretty much that's it. You choose the side, that's it. Like a lot of kid shows do, and then later on, they really go into some gray zone area that's like, oh man, that's, especially for a kid show, that's tough to swallow.
Yeah, I just liked the design on... Have you ever seen Bismuth? The like, stone?
No, is it very rainbow color?
Yeah, they did, and it's like geometrically, they're like... trying to think if I might have one somewhere in the rock collection I had from when I was like 10. It's packed in a box somewhere. But yeah, they're really cool. And I was kind of surprised. I'm like, huh, you know, they actually managed to like make a person that I looked at, and I'm just like, even before like...
You heard the name, you're like, I bet that's
yeah, like I knew what they were doing. Like
the actress who played her, Uzo Aduba, I think is how you say it, right? She plays Crazy Eyes on Orange is the New Black, and she is worthy of that name. This is an actress where you just see her, and even here it's like, oh my god, this woman never for a millisecond gives anything under 1,000,000%. Like, everything is just so extreme and so intense, and like just the utmost effort a person can put into a role.
Yeah, see, my favorite is, like, early on, she sounded kind of like Oprah to me. Like, that same timbre in her voice.
No, she was way too likable.
When she's yeah, no, that's true. When she's passing out the weapons, though, like, I just want to be like, and you get a weapon, and you get a weapon, and you get a weapon. See, what's so funny, like, there was, like, some point in this episode, though, where you were like, oh. And I'm like, what, you couldn't figure this out from the beginning? Like...
What? That she was...
I forget what point it was, but yeah, that she's, like, evil, and you're like, oh,
no,
like,
obviously she's evil... But, no, I'm trying to remember, no, because there was some point
there
where
was some
they were
reveal
like,
where I was just like, well, duh.
No, it was
like
that.
the second she was passing out weapons, I'm like, I find this highly
No, not that.
suspicious.
It was Rose that put her there. And honestly, I still should have woken up to that because she was in the
that
main.
was the one, yeah, and I'm like, really? You didn't figure that out? I thought that was
because she was in the main, and, you know, that's the reason why. But no, but she seems so okay. And she, with Rose, she wasn't like, oh, son of a bitch, I'm free. That
I don't know, there
Rose.
was something, like...
I mean, there's always something
about,
off.
And and there was something about the way she was upgrading those weapons that I just almost instantly was like, oh, this doesn't feel right. Like, and your spear's now a trident, and your whip now is these, like, spiky balls. I was like, wow, these look fucking brutal.
Yeah.
I'm like, this kid show got kind of wild.
And what I like... They still use them.
Yeah, that's what kills me. I'm just like,
that's what kills them,
so
too.
we're gonna imprison her, but still use her shit.
No, you know, and again, this actress, I mean, she earns the name Crazy Eyes in this show because she just has this, you know, you just look at the cast, you're like, that's Crazy Eyes right there. If there's a person called Crazy Eyes, that's her. And even without the visual, like, it still comes through in that voice, and is just such an intense performance. Every line she gives, I mean, you just swear she's like, you know, up to the mic like this, like grinding her teeth and stuff. I mean, like veins popping out with like every line, even if she's just laughing or talking softly. So it's very, very well done. I thought that was a pretty... but what I was going to ask, do you think this could have gotten across in an 11-minute episode? I think it could have, but it would have been a lot trickier.
It's good. Honestly, it's making me realize that I really wish these were 22 minutes long. Less episode, like...
It depends on the episode.
Some
I'm very thankful are short.
No, but see, that's the problem. Like, it's hitting a point now where this series has gone on long. If this was a shorter series, and they're like, this is going to be only 2 seasons, we're done, I probably wouldn't care. But this is going on long enough now that particularly when you binge watch them like this, I'm like... Good, good, fluff, fluff, good, fluff, good, fluff. And I'm like, if you cut out the fluff ones, or just incorporated them as slightly little side things and otherwise good episodes, I don't know, I feel like I remember the Bismuth episode, like, most of all, because it was in a 22-minute format where they could take their time and do it.
And some of these
I'm not saying I want 30 episodes in a
saying.
season that are 22 minutes long, but instead of 30... 11-minute episodes do 15, 22-minute episodes.
Well, even with something
you know
like,
what I'm saying?
Even with something like Gravity Falls, you know, they had their fluff episodes too, and they had episodes that came back more to the story.
I just feel like
but they did have ones that had both. There is never time for side stories.
I feel like I remember
it always has to be one story you're following.
I remember it easier in a longer format. I feel like if you need to do something serious, it plays better in a longer format. I feel like the shorter format is more for something like Aqua Teen Hunger Force, or, you know, like, where it's just like, okay, these shows are just goofy. It's not like I need to retain any information from Aqua Teen Hunger Force, except for I should have gotten a snack, because that was a long-ass story.
But at the same time...
Also, the Brood Witch cannot be disassembled.
But at the same time, I feel like you go into it, and they do get right to the point, which is kind of nice. There's not that much filler, there's not that much fluff, but then you have to have a couple episodes that connect, and it's like, man, it would work better if they all just
If it's a good episode.
Yeah.
Like, there's a number of episodes that now that we've got an actual plot going that I'm like, you could have cut that episode, and I think there's a couple characters that were like, you could cut.
I will say, it is kind of to a point, and maybe it's because... we do have other things to do, and it is a good show. It is... when you get older, your time does kind of become more valuable, and you are kind of like, okay, I am sitting here watching this, can we really blah blah...
I'm not 10! I'm an old jaded adult watching cartoons
for 10-year-olds. So it is one of those things where it's like,
Our life
what do you
is
do?
strange, my friend.
It
really
is. It is very strange. But I know what you're talking about.
I don't know. I'd be very interested, like...
I wouldn't mind seeing more of the longer episodes.
I wish they would make the switch.
It would be interesting if they did longer episodes.
Because there are other good episodes after this, but I still remember the Bismuth episode the most because of that. Yeah. I feel like it played overall probably the best, even though a couple came close.
And you're right, because when I think of the other episodes, I think of scenes. I really remember.
Yeah.
When I think of that episode, I think of the whole episode.
It's a whole
beginning
complete
to end.
story. Yeah.
Yeah. It has a beginning, a middle, and end. And not to say the others don't, but they have to rush them a little faster, and you do remember the emotion a little bit more. I think they could play around with them, or maybe they have. I mean, like I said, we're a season behind.
We'll probably get a whole bunch of shit about, how dare you?
No, even though at times
my personal opinion.
Even though at times I was even kind of saying, like, okay, this almost feels like it's going on a little. I mean, it is longer, but I'm like, this is feeling a little long. It still feels like it's setting up the payoff, and it's
strange
warranted.
enough.
It
when things are too short, it's almost exactly the same as when things are too long. It just, I'm not gonna say it's boring, but it's just when it's just the pacing's off, and you just don't retain it easier. You kind of zone in and out, and
especially when you marathon, which is how they're shown a lot of the time. They do like these Steven bombs.
The Steven bombs.
Yeah.
I just imagine like this atom bomb with
That's
with Steven's face on it, and it just says, "That's Steven."
It's just a giant mushroom cloud with like his face going, "That's Steven." Okay, so talked about that more than enough. All right, Beta. This is the one where they go to Jasper's birthplace. Amethyst kind of gets her rematch, realizes...
I just love how freaking arrogant Peridot is.
Yeah, trying to move the metal.
I mean, look at this place. Like, this is just shit. Whoa. And then you see the freaking Jasper one. It's like, yeah, but this is still like...
That was good build-up.
Like, it's like, okay, well, the glass is red. But you know what? If you go all the way back and see it, it's just like, you could almost hear her say, like, oh, shit.
Yeah, no, I like the more she's looking for the flaw. It's a great build-up to the villain.
Yeah.
A villain we're already afraid of, of like, oh, but there's gotta be a flaw here. No, well, there's gotta be a flaw here. No, I have never seen a hole like this.
Yeah, I really never wanted just, like, a swear word just in there, just when she goes way back. Yeah, but if you go all the way to the back, it's like a shit. Yeah.
Yeah.
Either that, just like a fuck. Like something.
Yeah, obviously good.
Yeah, or a bleep. Yeah,
that'd be great. A kid show. And again, I mean, we get the lesson, but it's done well where they fuse together, and it's not about a pride thing
and
or anything.
I love their fusion and how messed up it
is. That was
with
really
the two arms and the and like I was like we were watching in the middle of it. I'm just like, has there ever been like a street fighting game or a Mortal Kombat style game? X-Men, like Capcom, like one of the Capcom fighting games where they've had a yo-yo as a weapon.
Yeah, yo-yo's pretty cool.
There needs to be. After watching this, I'm like, it would be amazing to do special moves with a yo-yo. It'd be also too it would be like if like the character was like stupid extra super sick powerful or something. Like, way more than the character should be, so it's like Marvel Squirrel Girl, where it's like, just ridiculous!
Yeah.
Like, this idiot character with a yo-yo, like, has all these insane powers, I guess. Or wait, what was it? Super Smash Brothers. Was it Ness? And he has
Ness has a little bit of a but he doesn't do much. But he has like a battle. I know exactly.
Like the main weapon,
Simon Belmont's whip, like sort of like with a yo-yo and doing all the yo-yo tricks. I like what they do here. I know there's games where you can use a yo-yo as a weapon, but I did like Amethyst
upgrade too with the whip. It reminded me, it's like, oh, it's like when Simon Belmont gets the fire whip.
Yeah. So I thought that was really cool. It's great seeing Peridot again. She's always great. And then we have Earthlings. Actually, this one I have to remind myself.
It's when they come back, right?
Steven fused into Smoky Quartz. Oh, wait.
Oh, wait. Then what was the one?
Oh, you know what?
You idiot!
No. This is exactly what we were talking about. Okay, so Beta and Earthlings were actually 2 episodes back to back. Beta was just setting up and then
Love
Earthlings.
what they did with the place.
Yeah.
Beta, we can go quick. They show off the barn. It's Lapis and Peridot. They show off what they've done, and then Amethyst is still in bitch mode. I'm like, just...
But again, if these two were together, if it was one long episode, you're right, wouldn't that have worked better? Because I confused it for one long episode.
It would've, you could have done that as one episode. You start off at the barn and then move on. And
so I'm sure there's like,
my favorite thing, I do remember, first off, what they did with the barn is awesome, but then when they're going through like their art, which they called something else, which is kind of amusing. I don't remember what they...
Oh, was it? Yeah, let me see. They had it here. It was Meep Morp.
Yeah, Meep Morp. That was cute. But I love the one that's the TV and just like, I'm trapped. I'm trapped. I'm trapped. Oh, is this because you were trapped in that mirror for so long? Nah, I just like that show. I don't know why. I just love that show.
You know the one character I thought would... I don't know, maybe they'll do more in the future, but the one I kind of thought, like, man, there's like... real possibilities with this
Lapis.
character. Yeah, and she kind of got... I kind of forget she's even there. Even when they're invited her to, she's like, nah,
I thought
I don't know. No thanks, and stuff.
Oh, yeah, that was weird where they're just like, fly us in! No.
It's like, okay, like, no, I don't know if this is like actually really funny or just kind of like...
You know what it is? It's that they had built her up with... She's got an interesting character design.
A great backstory.
And they built her up, a great backstory, and they built her up with such mystery that you thought this was an arc that was going to go somewhere much longer. And not just fall back on, and then I'm just going to live with Peridot. Like, I thought they'd still be doing stuff with Lapis. Like,
yeah, but by this
point... As a major story arc.
But, yeah, I feel like she, she has her wings, fly away. Like, I feel like we've kind of done...
Lapis.
I feel like we've done what... can be done with her, but maybe not. Maybe they're saving her up for something else. But until then, she's just kind of, sitting around not doing that much.
So that was Beta, and then the one afterwards.
Yeah, it was Earthlings with the big fight, and like we talked about with the fusion between Steven and Amethyst and stuff like that.
It's the problem when we marathon this. There was a great line in there, though. It's the... shit.
Now, maybe you'll come back to it. We'll
there was a line about something just like it's not about the it's not about the past. It's what you want to be. That was
it's not about where you came from.
That was it. It's not about where you came from. It's where you want to be. That is an amazing line. And strange enough, that's actually not the one I'm thinking of. But I thought about it on the way there. No, there was some other great moment, and I can't
remember it. Well, wait, we got two more here, so maybe when we talk about it, we can come back to it. All right, so the second to last one of the season is Back to the Moon.
I love the rubies. I wanted. I almost.
What a tone change! That's what I love about this episode.
Yeah, completely different.
It starts off very light, very funny. I'm with you. I love these.
The rubies are like the minions.
If they had more character and personality.
They're perfect in these little bite-sized nuggets.
Yeah.
Like, we were saying, I saw the Minions movie finally, I'm like, it's fine. Like, it's alright, but I'm just like, yeah, I do prefer them in the background. And the same with the rubies, it's like, just these little nuggets, like, I'm like, I just love episodes with the rubies in it. Then you made us play that stupid game!
Yeah, I mean, and all their different personalities and everything, even though they all look alike, they have, like, just the rubies in a different place, that's it. They all have these very distinct personalities where when you look at them, you know which one is which, and I love that. But yeah, so they want to, they think Amethyst is Jasper, she disguises herself as her, and they go to the moon, and they find out this big shock. I mean, just this huge tonal what the hell that Rose actually did shatter one of the big powerful diamonds, the pink diamond, and this is like a big thing. Steven said, no, and we find out that Rose put bismuth away because of it. Hell, Steven put bismuth away because of that.
My jaw dropped, and I was like, holy shit, payoff for that bismuth episode.
Yeah.
Like, I thought they were just gonna leave it there, just like Steven's like, just
most
like a little...
shows do.
Yeah, like a little Gary student. Like, no, they didn't do that, it ain't right. And then they bottle bismuth up, I'm like, the end, and we're never gonna return to it. But when he finds out, it's like, oh yeah, no, totally shattered. And like, you could just like, and I love the reaction from Pearl, I think Garnet, like, oh shit. Like, didn't want Steven to know that.
All the reactions are great because Amethyst has to stay as Jasper. She can't show anything.
And I think
Garnet just looks surprised.
It's a great moment.
And Pearl is just
what?
horrified.
I like that because that's something about pacifistic characters. This is what, again, you should see Trigun because this is what made Trigun work. When you get pacifistic characters, a lot of times it's they're too perfect. No, I will just do this over that.
Yeah.
They don't have to really face either the consequences of their actions or face sometimes a moment where they're just like, oh wow, I have to question my own beliefs. And in this one, like, that was a moment where Steven had to question just like, wow, I put my life and soul on the line to say this was wrong, and it turns out my mother,
who's also kind of me,
who freaking shattered somebody. Like, I was like,
well, and
the balls to do that in this show, I'm like, good job.
No, he's going off of the philosophy that she had not to.
Yeah, and that was her because that's what my mom would do. It's like, yeah, your mom didn't do that. Not so perfect after all, just like,
and after such an intense episode around that with Bismuth, just what a great reveal, and it's done by characters that are not threatening. They're the little rubies. They're the most, oh, this is a light episode. This is, they have to pretend to be someone else. And then that bombshell drops that comes from them.
That happens sometimes. You will find out things about your friends or family secrets or something, and it's given away in the most innocuous way, not like some evil, like, but like you'll find something out almost by accident and just be like, oh, like, and shit.
Those little surprises keep you on your toes, and it's still like, oh, like, I didn't know that was gonna happen, so you don't always go in like, oh, it's this episode, oh, it's this kind of episode. It can still really shock you. And yeah, it's a good dilemma, and I think it's something good to start kids off early, honestly, to like really get them thinking about this, that even your whole philosophy and your thoughts and everything can change and can be challenged, and to a point where you're not always going to come out, with the philosophy you thought, or maybe you still have that philosophy, but you don't always follow it, and sometimes it's for a good reason. Or is it? I mean, they're good questions, and they don't have solid answers.
Kids need darkness. That was the lesson of Don Bluth and the 80s! No, I do like this show for doing things like that, though it got a little weird when Steven at the very end thanks. I'm like, oh, well, thanks for telling me. And I'm like, but they really didn't till they got pushed into it because someone else revealed it.
That comes in the next episode, which we'll get to now, which is Bubbled, which is kind of like the
it's been all 2001. I really thought for
Gravity,
a second,
I was thinking too.
I really thought for a second he's in that bubble and he's just in this like cocoon, and I really thought I thought for a second he was gonna wake up and be in a bed and there's like the monolith at the end or something with a crystal gem on. He's like,
so he's floating in the bubble. One of the rubies is there.
Goes by, just dunk. Fine, then maybe we'll just spend the rest of the trip in silence. I was like, and then in an edgy artistic move, the next 15 minutes are total silence. End of season.
But okay, so we'll get to that too, about where we feel this should have ended. But so she's stuck with Steven. He gets her inside the bubble, and she gets damaged, and he heals her. And she finds out that this is technically Rose, and even though he heals her, you could argue even kind of saves her life, she still tries to kill him, and he has to let her go in space again.
It's
very similar to the Pink Diamond
story. It's the scorpion and something
the frog,
else.
I think.
The frog, scorpion and the frog, where it's just like, I'm your only way out. Yeah, and it's like, it's in my nature. I feel like with the rubies that is almost the case. Like, it's just in their nature to be like, no.
Well, definitely that one.
So she screws herself over, and that I thought was like dark. I'm like, just floats away, bye-bye.
Yeah, we don't know what happens to her.
After this whole story ends, it's like 7 million years in the future, and she's just still in space like, this sucks.
Okay, it kind of makes me wonder, this brought me back to say, it kind of doesn't connect at all, but in Wonder Woman, remember that woman whose dress she stole? What happened to that? What, did she kill her?
There's some corpse in the woods.
Yeah, I mean, or even if she knocked her out, it was cold. Is there just this, cold woman that's just, freezing to death naked somewhere? I mean, it's actually kind of a terrifying thought.
She walks up naked in front of 2 Nazi soldiers. Guten Abend.
But anyway, okay, just finally get that out there.
What the fuck was that?
I don't know. I suddenly thought of it because it made me think of that. Just, oh my god, it's like this thing you kind of forgot about. It's like, that's actually kind of awful.
Oh! I thought of the thing. I thought the thing.
Okay.
It was somewhere in that episode, Steven has this whole speech. And he's just talking about, like, yes, Jasper's perfect, but we're both imperfect. And that was just the theme. Like, I can't remember what they said exactly. But it was the theme. I just like this idea that these are the two, like, kind of screw-ups. And he said something like, and we're the only ones like this. You know, because Amethyst was, you know,
Jasper's the only one like that, but they're
we're
the only ones like that,
like
too.
this. And she may seem perfect, and, like, we may be imperfect, but they're... It was very cute. I'm just like, oh, it's like these two kind of runt kids, like, you know, are just like, you know what? We deserve a shot at this too. Like, you know, we're gonna do this. We may be imperfect, but that's what makes us special. And, like, I just like that whole scene. I can't remember the lines.
They use their uniqueness to win the day, just like Jasper was trying to use her uniqueness too.
So I love that bit. That was my favorite part of that episode.
But anyway, so
back to you.
Back to Bubbled. So we're at the end of this episode. Throws her out into space. He's in the bubble, just, you know, curls up in a ball, backs up, shows the universe. Christ, we wish it ended there.
Yes!
It's like,
just
I'm like,
stop.
and roll
like,
the credits.
And cut.
And end the season
and then
here.
And then the ship came in, and I'm like, and fuck you.
Oh! And they...
That would have been like the Empire Strikes Back for, like, kids watching Cartoon Network. Just
Yeah.
like, what? What?
Well, what a cliffhanger. And, you know, you could have had her, you know, they could have gotten him, they hug, cry, and say, why didn't you tell me, going back to Earth and stuff. That could have been an episode. Like, just them talking about what happened with her, but they had to end on a happy note. How much, what do you think?
No.
Do you think they originally wanted to end it there, and then, like, the studio or somebody said, no, you gotta end... The focus groups are saying nay.
You know, unlikely, because I feel it would have been the opposite. I feel like...
They usually take a lot of risks.
I feel like they would have thought, ooh, this will make sure people watch next season. But the way these are bombed, I don't know if this even was, like... Because, like, it seems like every time we watch this, sometimes it's like... It's just arbitrary? Like, was this truly the end of an actual
according
season?
to the list, the Wikipedia list, that was the end of the season.
If there was supposed to be a chunk of time after this episode, then they messed up. Like,
I think so, too. They should have stopped with him being lost in space. With Dr. Smith flying by.
Maybe they were worried that the series was going to get canceled. They're like, we can't do that to the children! Because that would be amazing. And the series ends right there. Steven floating in space, the other Ruby floating elsewhere. Nobody knows what happens.
That would be amazing.
Man.
Well, one of my...
All right, let's do it. We got to write our own cartoons.
Yeah. No, one of my favorite cliffhangers of all time... It was never resolved. It was it was the biggest fuck you. It was
Sonic.
No.
Right? Or are you talking about Duckman?
But they thought Duckman was the one where they purposefully made it on the biggest cliffhanger like of all time, and they never answered it. And it's just said to be continued, and then just like question mark, and they never. I think they knew that was the last season. They just purposefully left it on that, and it was really serious. And it was like, holy smokes, you got balls. I mean, that would just piss off so many people. Even I was kind of pissed off, but I'm like, man, I gotta give credit. That's just so ballsy.
So when it's all said and done, I've got to admire your balls.
Well, maybe later. That's our Stephen Bomb here. I don't know when we can get to the next one. We're gonna try and find some time. Just find a day where we can just get
through. Try to blow through a whole season.
Yeah, just get through a season. I don't know when that is. I'm hoping within a month. I mean, fingers crossed. Like I said, I mean, we can't promise these.
I would say before the summer's out, no matter what.
That'd be my thought. Yeah, I feel like we can find a day to do that. Yeah, guys, I hope you enjoyed that. That's just how we're going to do these.
Still good.
Still good.
Still enjoying it.
Still really interesting. And again, I'm just so glad. I'm glad it's a kid's show. I'm glad this is the show that kids are getting, and it's a big hit, and adults are into it too, and it's challenging, and it's creative, and it's imaginative, and it's really cool to see it still go on that path. So that's about it, and we'll see you in another half a year. No, we'll see you before then.
There it is.
There it is.
Here I am talking to myself.
That's chaos.
That's Steven, yes.
That's Bismuth.
Just turn off the
We haven't done this for a while. What do you expect?
Turn it off.
Okay. Now?
No, tomorrow. Yes, now.
No, tomorrow, Aiken, now!
Turn it off! Turn it off!